Manhattan. I've been traveling. I was just vacationing in Amsterdam. Thank you. Where prostitution is legal. Let me rephrase that. I was just vacationing in Amsterdam because prostitution is legal. Great being back in Manhattan. I forgot how expensive this town is. Checking into the hotel this morning, I literally had to give the bellhop $10 just for taking my tip. Sorry if I seemed a little pissed off, but I ran one of those new photo-enforced intersections, and I got the ticket yesterday, and I looked at it, and I went, yep, no doubt about it. I need more hair plugs. I'm trying this new drug called Proscar. Have you heard of this, young man? Proscar? It's a prostate medication whose side effects include hair growth, and I think it's beginning to work because last month, during my colonoscopy, my doctor told me I had the hairiest prostate he's ever seen. So what I'm doing is I'm growing the hair on my prostate very long, then combing it up and over. And as long as there's no ill wind, I think it looks pretty good, don't you, ladies, huh? Huh, ladies? Yeah? Yeah, there's a good career move, mentioning my colonoscopy on stage. See, a lot of comics are afraid of getting older. Not me. I welcome my golden years, because I think they will give me time to do the things I could never do before, like getting very sick and dying. We've been living in Los Angeles for a while, and when we first moved there, we agreed no philandering, unless our wildest fantasy could come true. She picked Kevin Costner, I picked Cindy Crawford. Well, after a couple of years went by, I said, honey, why don't we update the list? So she picked Vin Diesel, and I picked our babysitter. I won. I hope I'm not offending any of the women here tonight. Very hard to be a man these days, because no matter what we say, you ladies are ready to slap us with a sexual harassment suit. That's why at the office, I don't even talk to women. I just rub up against them. Because what constitutes sexual harassment? If you wink at your secretary, is that sexual harassment? Suppose you do because there's something in your left eye. Suppose it's her right breast. What? What are you moaning about? How can I be sexist? I just had another daughter, and I kept her. And I tell my oldest daughter that she can grow up to be anything she wants to be. She can be the wife of a doctor, the wife of a lawyer. She can even be the wife of the president, because this is the land of opportunity. I empower my eldest daughter. I tell her to be proud of where she came from. That's why I named her Uterus. Uterus Feldman. She's named after her grandmother. We have to treat our coworkers with respect. And yet now they're going to pay Bill Clinton $11 million to write his autobiography after he disgraced the presidency. You know, I would like to be able to watch the evening news with my family and not have to explain what oral sex means to my wife. Next month, we celebrate our 9th wedding anniversary. Thank you. A lot of love in the room tonight. Thank you. We have a mixed marriage. I'm a blood. She's a Crip. We like watching old movies together. Last night we were watching Indecent Proposal. Great movie. Indecent Proposal. Robert Redford, Demi Moore. Halfway through it, I turned to her. I said, you know, honey, I don't think I could get $1 million for you. But I'm pretty sure I can get $50 20,000 times. No point in my being home right now. She's breastfeeding and I'm lactose intolerant. And I was a good sport during the gestation period. Because I don't know if you've ever been with child, young man. But as you get into that 9th, 10th, 11th month, you got to be creative, if you know what I mean. Got to try different angles, like her sister. You know what? I hear a couple of hissing and a little moaning here tonight, and you're absolutely right. I'm disgusting. I don't deserve to play in New York City. Turn away. Don't look at me, young lady. I don't deserve your love. Your pity. That's all I ask for. I've had a very tragic life. My father molested my imaginary friend right in front of me 3 weeks ago. My father is a man's man. Stormed the beaches of Normandy during the Vietnam War. And I know I sound like a sexist pig, but let me tell you something, gals. The minute a man has a baby daughter, and I've had 6, turns him into an instant feminist. Because I know what men are capable of thinking. And the thought of my little angel going out on her first date, when that guy comes to pick her up, when she's 32. And now I gotta straighten this guy out. You treat my daughter with respect. You buy her breakfast if she puts out. I wish women ran the world, I really do. If women ran the world, there'd be no wars. There wouldn't be a moment's peace, but there'd be no wars. I think God is a woman. Now, do you like me, ladies? Thank you. God is a woman. How else do you explain all the pain and suffering on this planet? Thou shalt not commit adultery. Now, you know no guy would have ever dreamed that one up. God is a woman because women are better than men in every way. Right on, sisters. Especially because you can give them a wedgie from the back and the front. Did I mention I'm getting a divorce? I got 7 kids out of her. I'm done. I'm not paying child support. Ladies, are you with me on this? I am not paying child support. You know, everybody talks about deadbeat dads. What about the kids who just aren't worth the child support? Am I right, ladies? Deadbeat kids. Why can't my 3-year-old get a job? My sneakers were made by a 2-year-old in Burma. Now, you may not like me, young lady, but you will respect me. Because I served this country while you were still cutting those teeth. That's right, Persian Gulf, Air Force, F-16, stewardess. I'm a good person. I do the Lord's work. Did you know that about me? Every weekend I'm down at the Braille Institute describing pornographic pictures. I'm working on a vaccine for polio. I know we already have one, but I don't like it. You got to give something back. That's the problem with your generation. You just take. Not me. Have you heard of President Jimmy Carter? Have you heard of his Habitat for Humanity? They built my sun deck. I give. Usually this is between me and my maker, but I'll share it with you. 28% of what I'm earning tonight, I am giving to the United States government. You're welcome. Sound like a motivational speaker. Notice how much better you feel since I've been up here? Anything is possible, young people. But first, you must dream the dream. My grandmother, 86 years old, just entered medical school. She's a cadaver. And she is living death to the fullest. I'm not sick. Society is ill. We live in a very hypocritical culture where a man can kill a sheep, cook it and eat it. He's a gourmet. But fall in love with that very same sheep, and the Child Welfare Office wants to take away my kids. Why? For loving something? Isn't there enough hatred on this planet? Anything that's pleasurable, they want to take away from you. Remember the good old days, young man, here in New York City? Are you from New York? Remember the good old days here when they used to let you smoke at the cockfights? Anything that's pleasurable, they take away from you. You can't smoke at the cockfights, can't do drugs. Not that I would ever advocate drug use. Believe me, being a stand-up comic, I know firsthand how easy it would be to turn to drugs. I don't do drugs. I just think there's a little hypocrisy in this insane war against narcotics in this country. For example, right before coming out here, the producer said, you can't make any jokes that portray drugs in a favorable light. Now, where the hell does television get the gall passing judgment on drugs? TV is the most lethal opiate in our country. Hello? The average teenager watches 6 hours of television every day. At least with drugs, you're out, you're singing, you're dancing. You're meeting people. You're breaking into homes. You're networking. I would never tell you to do drugs, but I do know how we can wipe out drug addiction in this country. Legalize all narcotics. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let crack and heroin be manufactured by the pharmaceutical companies. That way, nobody can afford them. $3 million homeless? I don't mean to bum you people out, but a dog can wander around Manhattan, not belonging to anybody. You can call the Humane Society, they will come and get that dog. But a human being? Nobody to call. Now, maybe I'm a bleeding heart liberal, but I think we need a Humane Society for humans. I think these people should be rounded up, given shelter, and if, after 6 weeks... What are you laughing at? Give them more food and shelter. What did you think I was going to say? You understand the point I'm making, don't you, young lady? You spend more to feed your cats and dogs than you do to feed poor people. You spend more on your pets than you do on the homeless. That's why I say make the homeless pets. You could have a real German Shepherd. A real boxer. Oh, you're so lucky to live here in Manhattan. Trying to give my kids an education in Los Angeles is a nightmare. The guns, the gangs, the drugs, and I'm homeschooling them. Which is still better than the alternative, the public schools, which are falling apart. And it's not because of the teachers, it's because of the parents. There are no values in the home. I'll give you an example. The bones of a Tyrannosaurus Rex were just sold at auction for $2.5 million. But I go to the cemetery and dig up the bones of my old violin teacher. I can't get a penny. We have have to treat teachers better in our country. We live in a culture where a prostitute on the street can earn more money than a school teacher. That's disgraceful. We have to start paying prostitutes as poorly as we do school teachers. And I, for one, am doing my part. Block by block, city by city, because all it takes is one teacher to say one thing and it can change your life forever. I'll never forget Mr. Don Dello in 7th grade cornered me after class and he said, "Feldman, if I could slit your throat and get away with it, I would." They're teaching sex education now in our elementary schools. I am sorry, I am against the teaching of sex education. I don't need some pervert coming into my daughter's classroom and teaching her how to wear a Trojan. If you want to wipe out teen pregnancy, it begins at home. It's the parents' responsibility to sit your children down and teach them shame for their bodies. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Our greatest weapon against teen pregnancy is instilling in our children a sense of self-loathing. Because we have an epidemic of young Americans who see their naked bodies and don't know it's the work of Satan. American teenagers are 6 times more likely to get pregnant than French teenagers. And what does that tell you? It tells you that American teenagers are better looking. But I say let's learn from the French. Don't hand out condoms to high school students. Take away their deodorant. I don't mean to offend any Parisians here tonight. I know we have a couple in the audience. I can smell them. Well, I've been all over this great land of ours, all over the planet, actually. I just want to say we live in the greatest country in the history of civilization. What is this, a fundraiser for Al Qaeda? I said this is the greatest country in the history of civilization. Thank you. And I don't read the newspapers, but apparently there's some funky stuff going on, and just want to remind you that if you persecute somebody just because they might look a little different, then you are no better than our country's founding fathers. Thomas Jefferson and George Washington, these syphilitic, slave-holding, pot-smoking, cross-dressing, male chauvinist pigs who believe that women and African Americans should be denied the right to vote. And that's just wrong. African Americans should be allowed to vote. What, they shouldn't be allowed to vote? You liberal racist. Women, of course women should be allowed to vote. We never would have repealed prohibition had it not been for the suffragette movement. That's right, because once you started a vote, everybody said, you know what, I need a drink. Well, I promised myself I wouldn't cry because I'm a pretty aggressive bastard up here, and I promised myself the eyes wouldn't start tearing up, but it's great to be back here, and there are only 2 towns in America that I ever look forward to coming home to. Manhattan and the other place that'll book me. I love doing television. I like to put something back into the universe. I like to think right now some guy is watching me in a Motel 6 with a half-empty bottle of Jack Daniels, a fully loaded pistol, and he's heard 2 or 3 of my jokes that gave him the courage to pull the trigger. Thank you very much.